think my camera is not turned on inside of OBS. I'm gonna have to turn that on. Yes, yes, okay. Now you can see my lovely face. So, this evening, by the way, it looks like my background has been really scaled up. I had to record some stuff last night. Just bring that down so we can see the entire screen. All right, great. And also want to put on some just audio in the background so that I have something to listen to. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see. Yeah. And double check my OBS, make sure. Well, no on desktop audio. Okay, a little bit now. Okay. Bring my audio up because I never know whether I'm going to be drowned out. Go over and also going to turn it off down just a little bit more. Turn it down, turn it down. Don't want to drown my beautiful voice. All right, so, and also I'm going to turn it down on this end because I don't want to hear too loud myself either. So, yeah. All right, cool. Go over to my streaming, the streaming window. Yeah. Okay, zero viewers. That's the way I like it. No. All right, we're working on Woodpiles this evening because what I got to do is the Woodpiles that we had, they were just visually inconsistent with the rest of the game, so we had to bring in some new ones. And I'm just going to create a couple of containers for them and start bringing them into the main game world. So I'm just going to use primitives. So anyway, the other time, every time I've done this, and I've talked about previous games that I was into, I not only got viewers, but I was able to keep them, and that's a rare thing for me. Usually, people tune out pretty quickly. So I don't know whether we have any viewers or not, but if we do, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start. Let me see. The last time that I was on here, geez, no, it was 2 times ago that we were touching on, stuff like I think Ultima and such. And now I'm having second thoughts. Maybe I need to make these up. I don't think the restraints are ever made out of wood, really. I just want to make them out of metal. Keep them quick and simple. So anyway, before I got into, I think. Did I mention? Yeah, I mentioned that I played Dark Age of Camelot for like a full year, and that was, that was my biggest experience with MMOs. I tried to get, I didn't really try. It's just that when you played one MMO, you've tried them all, and goodness, it's to me, no surprise that all these crypto scams, they're trying to monetize their scams, and the only way they can do it is really through these stupid get paid to play crap, get paid in our crappy coin. It's all dependent on people playing it. Of course the currency's going to, but again, they always play, make those into MMOs. Because really, you don't need a story. You don't need any dynamism. You just need people that are just going to be, oh, I'm earning money. I have a chance of earning money. That's just stupid. I just do. If you're playing one of those, you should stop because they are just, some crypto bro trying to, monetize their scam before it completely collapses. Just don't. I think there are a couple that are good. I mean, really, I forget that what defines an MMO has changed a heck of a lot over the last few years. And also, I want to change these. These are a little bit too big. Oh. Dummy. So. Anyway. Yeah, I got played Dark Age of Camelot, and that was, World of Warcraft was very big at the time. But, not too much into that anymore. I found it to be sort of fun. It killed time. Back when I had time to kill. I mean, these days I just don't. Killing time is a luxury to me. And by the way, that is completely the wrong texture. Yeah. We're gonna have to work on retexturing those. That's no big thing. But because these are going to be prefabs, it'll be very easy to go back and fix those. So what we want is we want some rusty tea material. Oh, we have no rusty materials. That's very odd. Well, more odd, and more odd. Let's see what we got here as far as like metal. Because again, right now I'm just trying to create a placeholder prefab that'll look okay. You know, I thought I had a rusty texture in here. It's just odd that I don't. It may have gotten eliminated. That might work right there. Let's just take a look. Yeah, I think that'll work. That looks like rough hewn enough. So, let me see what other games I may have been into. Back in the day, let me tell you, if you sold anything as a video game, I'd play it when I was a kid. But I don't know, I've become cynical in my old age. Let me see, that's Freedom Force. Back when I was in New Jersey, that was basically when, I lived in New Jersey for 13 years, and not to diss the people who live in that fine garden state, but I think I've talked about this before. There's just hopelessness that pervades New Jersey. And that was the time when I did most of my gaming, I'll say, because I was like, why go out? Why bother? There was nothing to do out there other than just like, just feel, just watch the world. I mean, everything you've heard about New Jersey is pretty much accurate. And there are some people who love it, and bless them. I mean, when I first moved there, I moved there from Tennessee, so it was a step up, but a boosh. But no, in recent days, we've seen those who may have followed politics. Hey, Tennessee, it never changes, never changes. Actually, no, I know exactly what to do here. Far too big. And actually unnecessary. Need to make these brackets a little bit less deep. And gosh. I did, but speaking of Tennessee, I did play Redneck Rampage for a few months, back in the day. Yeah, and I do need to purge that from my system. As somebody who lived down south, I do, it just wasn't the place I was meant to be, and I just don't have many great memories of it. And I don't know. I need to just purge that little bit of bigotry in the back of my head, because people can't help where they live, and there are some wonderful people down south. I will say without a doubt, the people down south, on the face of it, they are the most courteous, hospitable, and polite people, etc. But under certain circumstances, but people up here in Maine have their own kind of hospitality. Just odd. Let me just see here. Oh, there we go. Wood ends, wood ends, wood ends, wood ends. Yeah, that's why. They all got the wrong ones. So, let's see. Bark pine. I think. Nope, not element. There. There. Get them all? Nope. And there. Oh, we got a viewer. Hello there. Just doing another development thing tonight. I mean, it won't be insult. I hope you stick around. Won't be insulted if you leave. And I know that there's such a like delay on this chat. You won't even hear that for till. Whatever. How you doing? I should get back to talking about games that I played that I enjoyed. I did play the first Vampire the Masquerade, but it was just so limited when I look back on it. Okay, we got two wood piles that are going to be around the island. Make sure that they don't poke out of the restraints. And actually, just to make them sure, make them solid. Let me see. Yeah, it was a game of its period, and it was it wasn't Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, but it was entertaining. It was a pretty good game for the time. I just don't, I have many. Mm, well, no, I did play that. I was seeing Postal again today. Some videos about Postal. I never played that. I played a demo of Postal 2. And I had forgotten the first Postal was not tongue-in-cheek at all. It was actually very, very dark. Lost a viewer. That's fine. I mean, listen to me. I am not being entertaining right now. I can't blame anybody for deleting that. I mean, I'm building restraints for Farwood, as they say down in Tennessee. Maybe that was from somebody from Tennessee or like New Jersey who listened to that. Like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I cannot hear this. My ears, they are just turning red. That for some reason I gave both the people in New Jersey and Tennessee a New Jersey accent. I can't believe what they say about us in New Jersey. But I could say that about both places because I've lived in both. And I mean, New Jersey does have a very good sense of humor about its filthiness. It just does. Because you have to. Otherwise, you do something about it. Why bother with that? Actually, there were people who tried to clean up New Jersey. People still tried to. I mean, one of the things that I remember when Chris Christie got into office, he stopped the funding for it. And I was just like, that just shows, how stupid he was. I mean, we back in New Jersey, one of the things we were doing, and we were at the forefront of this technology soon after they discovered it, is oysters. I mean, outside of a very few things, they can metabolize anything. And if you just seed, like, a waterway that's toxic with oysters, boom, boy. And of course, nobody just warned people, don't eat the oysters, please. That actually cleans things up very well over the course of years. But he immediately stopped the funding for that. And that's just crazy. Why don't you want to clean up New Jersey, Governor? Because, of course, it's environmentalism, and Chris Christie was a Republican, He was the guy who literally took a helicopter flight so he wouldn't have to walk like 300 feet to his son's baseball game. Boy, Chris Christie was a poop. When he ran for president, I know he knew he wasn't going to make it. And I knew he'd crawl up, the Trumpster's butt as soon as, he failed because he ain't got no other chance. He was like really hoping to become Veep. Everybody wanted to become Veep. And remember, well, no, I can't talk about politics. Oh, hi, Peppy Picus, Picus Pica? Yeah, howdy. Nice to have somebody talking. Howdy, howdy, howdy. As you can see here, what I'm doing is I'm just creating, wood piles. La, la, la. And I'm discussing games that I've played in the past while I pass the time doing this. Because we want people to give people the ability to, climb up on wood piles and such. Anyway, and this is another thing that I put off for the longest time because I was like, I never have the freaking time. Was adding these because the game takes place in late, I think August, And out there, people by by the time late August comes around, the people out on the island have their their firewood stocked up. Every house has their firewood stocked up. It just is. And it would be good to have those. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create two kinds. Actually, no, we should create a third that's more of a jumbled pile. Poopy pants. Okay, I know what's to do. It's very easy, actually. So, Pico, tell me what's up in your business. Pepe, whatever. Sorry, no, not whatever. I don't mean to be here. So what's up with you? What I am doing here is, yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can moosh some stuff together, create a third kind of woodpile. Yeah, there we go. Because what I can do, let's see here. I'm getting slow. I mean, really, I alternate between cursing at Blender and going, oh, I think I can use this. It's just annoying at times. But yeah, I think I could create, just a rumble, tumble down sort of one by getting rid of the ones in the middle and mooshing those two together. I may not even have to bother with, getting rid of anything else. Actually, things at the end, I'd like to get rid of those. Just make it a little bit more clean. Pepe. Okay, Pepe. What's up with you, Pepe? Tell me stories of where you are from where you happen to be. I'm not going to assume with a name like that you happen to be, in a country where Pepe is a. Oh, Pepe. Anyway, come on, it could be Pepe the Frog. I need to shut up. Anyway. And I keep on saying I'm going to stop eating peanuts while I'm doing these, but I constantly fail because they're such a great source of protein, and I'm hypoglycemic, so any source of protein, when, I'm always jonesing for food. So what games have you played, Pepe, that have fond memories of? Tell me the games you like. And I tried to turn latency off so that you could hear me sooner, Pepe. I'm very sorry for, YouTube being so slow. And I also wish, by the way, I had money to get a license for 3DS Max, because, man, it is just so much better. This is just still too freaking big. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. We're just going to have to trim these. And this is just so dull. I freaking hate just pedantic work like this. Pardon me. But heck, it's got to be done. We want to remove the snippets of the logs, parts of the log that we're not using, so that we can just put these middle logs down. It just means going in and fine-tuning this. Now, in 3ds Max, I could just grab these sub-objects, but, Blender was, if I asked him, it'd be, sub what? I have no idea what you're saying. So, I unfortunately, in Blender, you're stuck just dealing with, I'm pretty sure somebody is watching this as a Blender fanatic. If a Blender fanatic ever watches it, they're going to be, oh, you can get a plugin for that. Fine. Okay, great. Just odd that that they don't include that, because it's just so simple that you'd want to select, grab just sub-objects rather than just pieces. And I accidentally grabbed a vertex. Boy, I'd really like to visit Europe again one day, but I know I'll never. I don't think I'm going to be able to for quite some time. Maybe. I'm not. I think I said the last time I was in Europe. Let me see. Horror games. Oh, were you the one that I was talking about horror games with last time? Oh, or is this the first time you've ever watched? Okay. Hello, Pepe. Can you tell me what? Have you ever played Soma? It's it's sort of a horror game. It's sort of a science fiction, post-apocalyptic horror, weirdness, sort of thing. That I mean, I rarely play horror games, but I have played them. Because I for some reason I just have an avert. I never viewed like fear as a positive emotion, but I understand the attraction. Don't get me wrong. The psychological stuff at play. I've watched enough film documentaries to understand, the biology behind the love of horror. And again, everybody does. I mean, everybody likes something different, but I know. I mean, I only realized that I was sort of a fan of horror until the genre of analog horror came along. I mean, I always thought that was just ARG, multimedia stuff, but it's sort of like gotten the title of like analog horror, and I like stuff like that. Nexpo and Night Mind and stuff like that, stuff they cover. If you, a great horror game, I mean, it's a horror game. It's a whole bunch of kind of different weird games all in one. Um, Inscription. It's like a card game, and it's just really it's really cool. I guess I mean, that's the closest thing I have to a horror game that I'd say that I really dig. See, yeah, I want to save that vertex. Let's flip over to the other side and just make sure I don't grab that other vertex. I think I'm clear. Let's just see. Yep. Nothing off of those other two ones have been taken off. So, yeah. Just gotta trim these two as I have these out. So, um, yeah, I think the game. And by the way, again, Pepe, or you said, Pepe. I don't blame you if you people like to now. I mean, I understand that this is not the most exciting. I always say whenever I do one of these streams, if this is the first time you've ever viewed, that this is not the most exciting of content. This is me working on the game, because there are some people who are always like, is the game still under development and such? And I go, yes, this is a way for me to show it is. And number two, I usually start these after me being here at 8 hours working on the game and my interest is starting to wane. And coming on here, just allows me to, number one, be honest and continue work for a while. And if I'm lucky, somebody comes in and, I can talk to them about this, that, and the other. So that's what. And my ulterior motive in this is also to demonstrate to the world that, they say, oh, yeah, game development, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, I'm not complaining. I mean, don't get me wrong. I am not complaining about my gig as a game developer. This is a dream come true. But let me tell you, 90% of it is just very slow, exact, pedantic work like this. And review and testing, and, I just want to share the joy, I think there's one more. And maybe, yeah. Delete. Vertices. Bing, bong, boodle. All right. Yeah, I could use that on like more rural properties with a lot wider thing. Yeah, we're good. So I'm just gonna export that as a boobity boobity boo sloppy pile, maybe. Okay, yeah. Just be happy with it, Eric. Get on with it. Get on with it. And I'm gonna call that LP3. There we go. The excitement, the drama. I love the atmosphere in those. They always have something that make me feel kind of nostalgia. Yeah, Pepe. Heck, Pepe's no habla español. But if you want to type in Spanish, I have a translating program here. Feel free to express yourself in Spanish in the chat, and I could translate it, no problem. I mean, I've got ChatGPT 4 and, Google Translate. If you feel free to communicate better. I wish I spoke Spanish. I wish I spoke a lot of languages, but I never had, I did have the education, the years, but I never, kept much of it. because I never had to, I mean, I took German when I lived in, the American South in Tennessee. Where am I going to use German? I should have learned Spanish. I mean, that's a useful language now. Yeah, prefix. It's like Woodpile. Here we go. And then yeah, are you in Spain or south of the, or as we call it in the United States, south of the border? I keep on saying I need to move my camera over there. Trust me, the next one I will. Ignore. All right. Going to take this out because we have log pile 3. And yes, we're going to get over the conversation about what kind of language you can speak here. But yeah, I mean, to me, I mean, I don't know. Are you from? Oh, I didn't center that model. I'm going to get rid of that and bring it back in. Sorry. You got to center the model in here prior to export. Yeah, that nostalgia, the feeling of the nostalgia and everything. Let me tell you, I mean, I was there when I was, that 1980s look, that VCR, the grainy VCR look. I actually have a After Effects plugin, or it's either a Premiere plugin or an After Effects plugin, and I can replicate to put any kind of video in there. And I've been wanting to do sort of like, a retro, analog sort of trailer for Peace Island. Don't know how I would apply it, but that would be a cool thing to do because, I'm still the lead dev. I'm doing most of the work here, and that includes doing the trailers. And we're due to we released our first trailer over a year ago. We need to see it. By the way, Pepe, if you've not seen have you seen? I'll wait for your answer. Have you seen our Spanish language trailer? I'd love to play it here for it if you haven't seen it. All right. Because you got to have it centered, by the way, because otherwise, the model is just going to be it's going to be a hard time. Ignore for the time being. We're going to ignore that. It's just a real pain to modify things if the pivot is like way over here. I wish I should have told that to our guy who is handling colliders. But anyway, because he just, oh my goodness, centered just about every collider to 0, 0, 0, even, and it just made fixing things. It makes fixing things well nigh impossible, and it's sad. What's the other one? Oh, let me see. Where's my Oh, thank you. Yeah, Pepe, considering you haven't answered, I'm going to take that as a yes. I'm going to play our Spanish, because I got a trailer done 2 years ago, and I wanted it in the 3 major language of gamers worldwide, and it was Spanish. And by the way, Pepe, I'm sort of like assuming that you speak that Spanish. You may speak Portuguese, for all I know. And I'm going to show you something and just be like a total ignorant, bigoted American. I don't mean to be that way. Apologies if that's the case. But, let's see here. Yeah, CC. Let me adjust the audio. Where is my OBS? OBS, where are you? Where be you? Okay, I'm gonna load this up so it's up to you near where I am. So.
Siempre hemos estado aquí.
Oops.
Vida tras vida.
Sorry.
Siempre observando. Hasta que un día se fueron. Nos quedamos preguntándonos, ¿acaso podemos tomar mejores decisiones? ¿Y si ellos regresan? ¿Estarían dispuestos a escucharnos a ser capaces de cambiar? Podemos aprender a vivir sin ellos, decidir quiénes queremos ser y no cometer los mismos errores. Y si los traemos de vuelta, podrían aceptar en lo que nos hemos convertido.
Sorry. By the way, Pepe, I'm very sorry for the loud audio on that. It probably blasted out your speakers. I apologize. The audio levels are kind of wacky. But anyway, I'm going to put on my stupid Smash Bean Pumpkin soundtrack in the background. But yeah, speaking of nostalgia, yes, Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah. Yeah, the thing is that trailer is sort of like a one-note trailer. I would like to have something with a little bit more excitement to it, you know? That was just sort of, I don't know, it was just sort of in the first stab at doing a trailer. And by the way, when that trailer was done, the game was in such a bad shape. I had to just carefully shoot things and such. And I mean, that's why there was, outside of a few beauty shots, very little like real gameplay in there because things were still in such a state of flux. Everything in the trailer has to do within the game. I mean, including like all the space shots in his game with science fiction elements. But yeah, that's just sort of like a teaser trailer. It doesn't have all. It's not. Don't have everything. But anyway, I gotta put these guys in log slice. No, not log slice. You want log bark, yeah, log bark. And but here's a crazy story though. We really wanted to. I really wanted to do. But strangely enough, that bark isn't coming across as good as it should. Okay, bark pine. Oh, I see the bark pine, not the. Not log bark, bark pine. I tried to do. I wanted to do a Chinese trailer, but gee, there's a point. I mean, Chinese people. I have heard via certain Chinese, bloggers. It's generally assumed among Chinese people that Western people are not smart enough to understand, the language of the Chinese, and so it's not. Oh, did I lose you? I guess I lost you. I'm very sorry, but anyway, I'm going to continue with my narrative. Jeez, maybe I should start over. I'm 34 minutes into this, and yeah, I think that people will get it, understand that I'm back. Anyway, where was I? When we tried to get a trailer, and I can say I am straight up not intelligent enough to understand Chinese or learn it. I don't think I ever could. And it's not because it's like, mystical or anything or crazy. It's just that it is a very, very complex language where you got to change the way you think, about reading and speaking. And getting a proper Chinese translation. Pepe, or is that you back with us? I'm sorry for the audio problem. Um, um, when we tried to get a Chinese version of the trailer done, that was troublesome because, geez, I mean, number one, oh, how many games? How many languages? Right now, we're only doing English, but I mean, we'd really like to translate it into Spanish and German, and in Chinese and Japanese. Japanese definitely, but right now we don't have the budget for that, so we're just sort of like, hey, maybe eventually, that we can get this. But right now, I don't think we can afford getting it done because right now, geez, again, yeah, budget. But I mean, eventually we would like it in a whole bunch of different languages. But right now we're just focusing on getting it out in one, our native language. And let's see, what I want to do is bring these guys out. I mean, now in retrospect, instead of hiring, if I mean, I don't mean to get. I mean, this is just a beginner's guide. We did have, unfortunately, I made the mistake of hiring some AAA developers to help us out on the project. They really, I mean, for the money that they basically just ripped us off of, that we could have gotten it translated to another language. We could have gotten a lot of things done, but we're just moving on. This is where, I mean, Eric, do you have to be that anal retentive considering these bars are going to be on the back and probably a gamer's never even going to see them? Yes, I have to be. I just have to be. There we go. There we go. I am anal retentive. Thank you. Yep, perfect. That'll do. All right, and now we got to put some colliders on these guys. These already. I think we just put a mesh collider on these guys, and we're going to be good. The cats can walk across them. I'll test them before I put them in. Oh yeah, I was talking about Chinese. If you don't know, there are two major dialects of Chinese. There's Han Chinese and there's Mandarin. And I did not know this until we tried doing a trailer for the Chinese gamers. We know our game is never going to be released in China, by the way. But there are millions upon millions of Chinese gamers that don't live in China at all. So we still feel we should do one, or I feel we should do one. What's they if you take somebody who speaks one dialect and bring it to the guy who speaks the other dialect, they cannot understand each other. However, they can read the same text, the same Chinese text, and they will both understand what the text says. But if they read that text to each other, they will not understand. It's a bizarre thing. And when I did get a Chinese voiceover done for a trailer, and I had two people listen to it, and both of them had a huge problem with it. I guess Chinese isn't Chinese. I don't know. I mean, the people that I hired were native speakers. And they were, I mean, I don't know anything about a Chinese, so I was sort of like, we gave up on making a Chinese trailer. Because, again, stupid person. I'm noticing here, do we not see my Unity window? I'm noticing you're just seeing this over here. I'm hoping, oh yeah, you can see my Unity window. Okay, good. I'm just scrolling back there. Let's see. Now what I want to do is, now that these guys have I'm going to make prefabs out of these guys. Actually, no. I want to create a blank object inside of each game object. create empty. So yeah, so now we just have English and Spanish trailers, and I mean, if I don't think we may venture into getting a Chinese trailer done. I don't know. And we're gonna have to get some serious like language people to help us with that. These again, the two dialects, Mandarin. I mean, Cantonese, not Mandarin, Cantonese. Oh God, I was again showing my ignorance. Ignorance as American. Um, yeah, it might be better using subtitles. Oh, that's one thing. Can I just say we are not? There's only one. Mm. There's not. I now I know what you're talking about, Pepe. In Peace Island, because of our budget, we cannot go with voice overs. Voice overs are incredibly expensive to do. They are by far out. I mean, because for so many different reasons, it's kind of hard to explain. But trust me, it is one of the most expensive things that you can invest in as game developer, and your project is voiceover because I mean, especially in a game like this, because the cats are going to be in sometimes good moods and sometimes medium moods and sometimes bad moods. We'd have to, I mean, we have 9 cats. That means we would have to get 27 versions of each line of dialogue. Because depending on how you find things, you see what I'm saying? We can't afford. I mean, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of unfortunately subtitled, right? A lot of readings, subtitles. It's sort of like if you've ever heard of a game called what was it? A Sable. They got away with that. Yeah, the Elder Scrolls series. They brought in voiceovers at one point, but if you listen to the voiceovers in not Morrowind, what was it? The next one, Oblivion, which, by the way, loved. They only had about, I think, either 4 or 7 actors that had to do every one of those parts, and you just hear it after a while that they're just reusing the same things over and over and over. I mean, it's just very expensive and very difficult. It adds another layer of development that, quite frankly, I would rather avoid if I have because. There is going to be P1. I just have to rename these, and I want to spell it out. It comes LP2 and LP3. I see. Oh yeah. I was talking. We do want. If you've never played Fallout 2 and 1 and 2, which again are still among my favorite, games of all time. Going back to top of gaming, I really love those games. And at the very beginning, you had Ron Perlman's great, war never changes. I can't do his voice, And by the way, that is one of the biggest problems I had with Fallout 4. No Ron Perlman at the beginning. Without him say war never changes at the beginning, it isn't a Fallout game. Anyway. But in those games, you had his, soliloquy at the beginning, and you had his narration at the very end, where he's just like, the Wanderer did this and this and this. And essentially, we're going to be doing something like that. You are going to be hearing voices within the game. I mean, for example, there's a radio show within the game that currently, for the beta, is a half hour long, but in the full game, I would like it 90 minutes long. There are going to be, recordings that you're going to listen to, videos that you see, and I mean, translating those into Spanish might be difficult, yeah. But heck, if we find a publisher that's willing to pay for it, we're on it, man. If we're willing to get that, and we're going to be very particular about the voice. There's going to be one voice at the very end when the player is taking the final, leg of the critical path, where they have a discussion with one the most special of all the cats that they can encounter in the game. And we really are going to be we really want a particular voice for that. Laura would like Patton Oswalt, but I mean, I'm all over the place. I would like Henry Rollins to do it, but the problem is Henry Rollins is a very bad. Henry. I know you're never going to watch this, but I can just go ahead and say Henry Rollins isn't a great actor. But anyway. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, and it'll be cheaper doing subtitles, and I don't know. Okay, we have our prefabs here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our veg studio. No, my vegetation workbench scene. Oh, and by the way, we did have a second beater Sarin 37, but don't say. My work here is done, as the old Hackney phrase says. But yeah, I'm. If we do, get that voice at the very end, that would be a problem. I mean, we would have to find somebody who could do every bit as good, and we'd have to find Boy Scouts for that, or somebody who could vouch for the performance. Because, and I don't speak Chinese. I took 2 years of German. I can barely speak that. I can if I see German text or somebody speaks to me very slowly in German, I can make out what their intent is. But I'm a stupid American. We don't, unfortunately, in this country, we don't cotton to learn in other languages. And it's stupid that we're that way. I speak American. Just idiots. Anyway. I mean, the only problem that I have with text, I mean, especially in that game Sable that I mentioned earlier, I found myself just going, all right, yawn, click, 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 click. There isn't going to be much. I mean, the dialogue in this game, I would like to keep minimal. I mean, nobody is going to be doing. I mean, any like great like blah 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 exposition, blah blah blah, talkie. Most of the stuff that you learn about the world and such is going to be in like newspapers, magazines, books that you read. Again, video recordings you may come across, phone messages that you might find, and a whole bunch of other things. I mean, we're telling the story through the entire world and through all of the people that lived on the island before they, disappeared. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I keep on saying, can I just say when I think about dialogue, Cormac McCarthy is what I want to go for as far as like dialogue, because his dialogue is so sparse but so effective. And I mean, it's going to be hard to find. I mean, I can't write like Cormac McCarthy. Cormac McCarthy could, make a television repair manual read like a book from the Bible. He's that kind of guy. But I mean, if you've ever read The Road, it's just very, 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 succinct and very effective. And yeah, there will be English subtitles from the very beginning. Like I said, I think most of the story will be told through text when there is dialogue at the very end. I'm going to zoom out and show you. And I mean, this is no spoiler, by the way, because I'm showing this because Pepe seems to be here, and I would like. He seems to be a new viewer, is not checked out. It doesn't know much about the project. This is the game world, by the way. Now, this is Saturday. I'm glad that. It looks like I'm going to be out of here in about 10 minutes. I usually stream about an hour because I want to do something other than just work on, replacing stuff again. But let me just go Q. For the first 2/3 of the game, I'm just trying to move us a little bit down, a little bit more out. All right, there we go. There we go. The first 2 acts of the game. The first 2/3 takes place all around here. You don't get access to up here until the final act of the game. And the ultimate goal is to get one of the cats over here. And during that, I mean, that's going to be the last things that you do in the game is get the cat over here. And during that time, the boat ride, that's when the voiceover soliloquy will be. And, the voiceover, just recap and final such. But there is going to be a little bit of the game after that. So, again, that isn't so much of a spoiler. Because, again, you have 3 possible outcomes of the game. But there are always choke points. I mean, not to get in game development discussion, but game development talk. But I mean, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody who's watching now or in the future. Adventure games, they have something. All games, they have something called a critical path, and that is the path that no matter what choices the player makes along the way, they have to pass through those spots. And yeah, that's one of the parts of the critical path that everybody's going to eventually have to go through is that point at the end. But let me see. I mean, geez, Pepe. If somebody that's new to the whole thing, Blood Meridian. Is that? I tried reading another one of his books a couple of years ago, and it was just a little bit too thick for me. I forget which one it was. This is Pepe as such, and those who may not know. I've been working. I started this game. Me and Laura, we started working on this game like 5 years ago, a little bit over 5 years ago, because I don't know. I started because I was working at a restaurant doing 11-hour shifts as a line cook, and I said to myself, "There's got to be something else." And I've always wanted to make a video game. Now is the freaking time to do it. And I just started, and we didn't have any budget. I was able to save a couple of bucks, a couple of dollars here and there, and buy, an asset or a system or something to help me out. But it's just been, years and years of work. Far more. I thought that we'd have the beta out by now, but that's another story that, I talk about too much and I don't want to get into. And it also looks like these hedges, they need to be there. I fixed that. I need to fix these hedge colors. See how sickly yellow they are? They should be a little bit more bright green. But yeah, this is, it's a handmade world, and really it's got, I think, 90 structures. There were 38 people who lived on the island. The premise of the game is that right as the game opens, all the humans disappear from the island and the world at large. And the overall plot of the game is, you got to figure out, you got to help the cats survive, and ultimately, in the process of that, you discover a lot about the islands and why the humans disappeared. And in the end, it is up to you and the cats. You control all 9 cats to decide whether humans are worth bringing back. And right now we're hoping on 3 possible outcomes. You could choose. I'm not gonna say, but anyway, you could choose 3 possible outcomes, and it's a mix of science fiction and understand we put a heck of a lot of work. This is going to be story driven. If you're going to be looking for action, there's going to be a little bit of hunting. You're going to, occasionally there's going to be stuff like that, but really. Number one, it's not a walking simulator like Stray. And by the way, I'm not dissing Stray. I have nothing but respect and universal love for the people who made Stray because, well, for a lot of reasons. If you want me to go into that, I can. But I've mentioned this many times. I have. It's gonna be about just, learning and. There's so many influences on this. You're going to have access to just about every building on the island. And what we're trying to do is create a puzzle box. The entire island is a puzzle box of sorts. And there are, I think, 8 NPC species. And you've got to work with all of those. to get to what I mean. There are going to be various, of course, with 3 different endings, various routes to the endings. But we got they're going to be deer, they're going to be seagulls, deer, crow, geese, snails, and beaver. And I know I probably left 1 or 2 out there. I guarantee, because I think that was only 6. But yeah, I mean, basically, you know how essentially we're treating each species as a guild or a camp or a faction. You got to work with each one of those to get what you need. And yeah, I can't give out much more because when you have a story-driven game, it's kind of hard to really go into much because there's just so much I could tell you. I mean, to go into. Let me just go over here and see if I can bring over our wiki and I can just show you. See, that's the quickest way to get it to our wiki. We got a project wiki, but it runs off of our web server. It's very, very slow. And let me see. I mean, I never played. What was the one about Firewatch? I never played Firewatch, but I keep on hearing people refer to that. But I'm just gonna go human into our wiki, and I have to go all the way down because I don't. All the spoilers are at the top. But you can see here, every one of the humans on the island, including many that were deceased. Oh, actually, we have a heck of a lot more that need to be added, it looks like. I forgot about them. I haven't fixed our wiki in a while. And every one of these guys, we have their entire life story from where they were born, and understand that everybody in this game is going to be connected in a certain way. And if you know, let me just see. I'm just going to go to Giphy. Because this is the sort of, if people ask what the gameplay is like, I'll show them this GIF. Yeah. This, I'm just going to open in a new tab. Yeah. Oh, goodness, they opened it. Yeah, okay, for some reason it goes YouTube. But yeah, this. Right there, that GIF of right there, that sums up the story of. You're gonna have to make basically connect a lot of dots to figure out what's going on and what's where, and what happened and what to do and how to do it. And we also want it so that understand. We don't want it so that you always feel as if you have to do something. I really liked how games like the Elder Scrolls. I mean, even though, say for example, in Oblivion, there was this great crisis facing the world, but you could literally just go off the main quest for days, do nothing, and it really didn't harm you all that much, gameplay all that much, or the progression of the story. I mean, we want it so that a game that people are willing to just sit and watch the sun set for a while. In fact, we want to make it beneficial for the players to watch the sunset. I'm going to have to talk to our coder if we can work on that system, but we'll see. Here's the thing. So thank you so much. Here's the thing about that quote. That quote is fine if you have unlimited funding. And I believe by the time that guy said that, he had corporate funding and he could take his sweet time. We are crowdfunded, and our supporters have been very, 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 very kind and very generous. But we lost time, and during the time that was lost, we lost a considerable amount of that support. And so while we would like to go, oh, we'll take another 5 years, this could be the new dwarf fortress, no, we can't. We're about a month away from the point that I'm gonna have to start looking for a job at a grocery store or something again, because apparently in Portland, Maine, that's the best job I can get. Um, and it's because I mean, like I said earlier, we could have had the beta, public beta, out a year ago. We could have had it actually out before the trailer for Stray was released. But I made the mistake when we got a lot of support of hiring some people who came to us. They were AAA developers who worked for good companies. They had resumes this long, and they were absolutely incompetent. They cost us about 18 months of development time. I'm still discovering stuff that they did wrong. Just about everybody that I hired, who I thought would check their dang work, never did. They didn't bother. And it's very frustrating. I mean, when you pay people and they just all let you down, and you find yourself, 5 years in, redoing all the work that you thought they were doing as fast as you can because you thought it was done. Dude, I'm not going to go into that. It makes me a spiral. But here's the thing. And also, I try to find myself a quarter every time I say, here's the thing. I don't have quarters, so I'm just going to use this as a marker. Number one, this is the biggest thing that I've ever created in my life. And no, I have to go grab another beverage, and then I'm going to end on why, that whole 18 months delay doesn't bother me too much. I will be right back, okay, guys? Sorry, guys and gals and those in between. BRB. And I got my audio up this time, so you won't be But here's the thing. Oh my God, I did it again. Okay, another token for that. Okay. Number one, we are so close to getting the public beta done. I mean, even with those guys wasting our time, we are so close, and it's because of the hard work that people like Lance, our lead coder, has done. I work 11 hours a day, 7 days a week sometimes. Laura works her butt off on so many aspects of the game, I can't even list them all. And I personally cannot give up, no matter the stake, what's stacked against us, because I'm 52 years old, and this is the biggest thing I've ever created in my life. I've never worked on. I mean, I worked on creative projects before, but nothing this large, nothing this big. The thought of just giving up on it because some people jerked us around for a little bit over a year. No, I can't. It would be not only letting myself down, it would be letting down the thousands of people who with their patience and their kind support have stuck with us and supported us through all these years. And I'm not even talking about the people that still stuck with us. I mean, really, people who contributed $1 to our Patreon still get access to updates, even if they quit their support. I mean, this is the thing we always give. We got delayed, we got knocked down, and I only have myself to blame. Because, let's just put it this way. I'm no longer in charge of hiring. Laura's in charge of that now. And fortunately, in the end, we found this one coder in the most unlikely of places. We're making a game. The game that we're making, as you know, is set in Maine. But The coder that we got now, and he is the, oh my goodness, he's a great coder. He's a guy that I wish we would have had from the very start. But he's in Tijuana, Mexico, Tijuana, Mexico, and he has done more for this project in the last year than And the thing is, this guy, he's never worked on a AAA game. He's never worked for a big studio or anything. But this guy, he's developed 2 games, probably more, probably 3 games if I really get down to it, all by himself on a like an outdated computer. This guy codes like, I mean, amazing, and I mean, just it's sort of like, the simulation is working. We found this guy just at the end when things were sort of hopeless, because I mean, the lead coder who worked for this AAA studio literally just walked out for 4 months, just walked away, just left, and we were just left here foundering for months, and no, for about 3 months, two and a half, and I just said, screw this. I'm gonna go on to, I think, goodness, this one of these job sites. I got it, and this guy, boy, oh boy, he's just excellent. And understand, while those guys were those so-called triple A developers, were wasting our time and screwing around, Laura and I were working. We were working on putting together the story, working to get coming up with ideas for, this voluminous background story with 38 different elements that are just the human elements, and all these. Work never freaking stopped. It's just that unfortunately I put, 1 or 2 absolute incompetent people. But here's the nope. I stopped myself. Here is the important thing to remember. The game, understand, up until the point that it went viral, was just me, Laura, and a coder in Greece that in the end had to quit because he had other things that he was working on. When we started getting our Patreon funding, it was overwhelming. It was, I mean, not to say it was a bad thing. I mean, people will say, I mean, they asked us at the time, what does it feel like to be able to, you got the support, you got your project went viral. And I said, it is absolutely exhilarating, but it's terrifying at the same time, because I've never had people with so much trust in anything that I've done. And it was humbling, and it was wonderful. And I've worked my butt off to make sure that I would never let anybody down who supported the project in any way, financially or otherwise. But at that time, I mean, understand, when the game went viral, I was waking up, I was getting 5 interview requests a day from publications from Serbia, England, all over the United States, websites, blogs. People were expecting the game to be done immediately, and it was just, our project, it wasn't done at that time. And I was sort of scared that, I mean, people, the problem is that, yeah, I did a lot of interviews, but 90% of the articles that were written about Peace Island after it went viral, they never consulted either me, Laura, or the guy in Greece. They just wrote, somebody made a game. And everybody assumed the game was done. And that was terrifying to me. At that time, like I said, it was wonderful and terrifying. And at that point, let me tell you, I was panicking. And when these people came to me, and this is my explanation why I hired those people, why I put up with it, because when anybody else in that situation, when their bedroom project becomes like one of the biggest game like news project items in the freaking world, literally overnight, these guys come to me and they say, yeah, I worked on Guitar Hero, I worked on the Thief franchise, Arkham, my friend here, he's worked on all of this stuff. You're like, oh my goodness, thank goodness these people have come to help us, oh goodness. But no, that was the biggest mistake I ever did. Instead of hiring those people, it should have just arranged myself, Laura, and a coder, and just put all the money into the bank, and just spend the money on just that. And I understand, I just have to back up, because again, we're crowdfunded, and I always have to say this, and it's absolutely true. Those scammers robbed us of time. Those idiots, they robbed us of time, but they didn't rob us of money. I covered every cent that they robbed from us. I mean, they may have taken about 0.5% of 1% of our overall budget. I mean, I paid for it. So it sucks, but there you go. And it costs a lot of money. But it didn't come from our supporters. So, again, I mean, please don't let that, the story of, that whole drama keep you from thinking, I don't contribute. But anyway, I've gone on and on about 10 minutes past my time, and I think I'm done because I got my woodpile prefabs, and I'm going to just taking it easy for the rest of the night. Maybe playing some game of some sort. I don't know. But hey, for those who tuned in and may tune in the future, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll probably be back here. I stream a lot here and on our Twitch, but I'll be back here soon. And thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your interest in the game. And if you feel like supporting the game, go to patreon.com/Peace Island. Again, I think I know we are 4 months out from the beta, and we just need to get there, and we will make it. And those people who did rip us off, and I know one of them occasionally watches these videos. They're never going to be able to do that to another game developer again. Pardon me. Dribble. It's a little bit of a dribble there. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later. See you in 2 days, maybe 3. Bye.